Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today I'm going to be talking about our current quote unquote how to culture and our learning process, really. Now, disclaimer, this is just my view, and my view, of course, is based on my observations and experiences, and I'm not saying that my view is entirely correct, nor am I trying to make an oversweeping claim. Obviously, there are possible exemptions to what I'm going to talk about today. So let's talk about them. Nowadays, we live in what I call the how-to culture, which isn't bad, really. It's not bad at all, in my opinion. But then it doesn't mean that it doesn't have its downsides or disadvantages, if you will. Nowadays, if you just want to learn, let's say, English, you just type how to learn English, for example, on YouTube or on Google, or maybe on Google Gemini, or maybe ChatGPT. You just type how to learn English, and then there they are. You've got lots of tips from different people from different parts of the world, and of course our AI tools. Now again, it's not necessarily bad to learn from other people. Obviously, that's how we learn. But then I think that it has a specific downside, which I think that on the one hand, of course, it helps a lot. But on the other hand, if it's taken to its extreme, and by that I mean it becomes some kind of an obsession, it leads to what you might call analysis paralysis. Let me explain. When I say analysis paralysis here, I mean, because we live in a culture of, again, how to, and there are always correct ways or perfect ways to learn English, to learn fighting games, to learn philosophy, or to learn history, or to learn anything really. People think that if they don't do what a content creator says, or what any AI tool says, or any authority says, they're doing it wrong. All right. Now, of course, there are exemptions. So, for example, if you have a medical issue, then go to a doctor, please. Okay, don't improvise, if you will. Gotta go to the doctor, right? But then, if we're just talking about things like, again, how to learn English, how to learn philosophy, how to learn history, how to learn literature, or how to play fighting games, or how to play Tekken in particular, it could lead to, again, analysis paralysis, because you may start believing that there are always perfect ways or correct ways to learn things. But then here is the thing. If you think that there are perfect ways to learn anything, then you might start believing that because there are perfect ways and you don't even know whether what you're doing is perfect, then you might not even try. You might not even do anything, because you are scared that what you might do or will do or may do is different from an authority on YouTube says, or an influencer on YouTube says. Okay, so for example, if let's say you're interested in, reading Aristotle, and you start reading Aristotle, and then let's say there are some things that you don't understand about Aristotle, you start looking things up, right? And then you see different authorities and different books talking about what Aristotle says, or what Aristotle is really saying, or what Aristotle must have meant when he said those things or wrote those things. Then I'm afraid you're in trouble. Now, again, I'm not saying that, you shouldn't trust authorities. It's just that authorities, obviously humans, they make mistakes. So authorities can make mistakes. So if you think that what you think is wrong, what makes you think that you are even correct to believe that authorities are never wrong? My point here is that, you've really got to put in a lot of effort. You're going to be making mistakes, and you're going to be learning from those mistakes. I suggest you to never look for perfect ways. Again, I'm not against, looking for how to do stuff or how to do things on YouTube. You think for yourself, all right? But again, you've really got to try. Okay, it's one thing to look for videos or articles about how to learn philosophy, or how to learn history, or how to learn English, or how to learn how to play Tekken. It's one thing to actually do them and make mistakes and learn on the fly. Okay, because you see, we've been learning, making mistakes, and trying, making errors, and learning again, long before the internet even existed. In fact, we've been learning, making mistakes, and learning again, long before the first cities in the world were even established, or long before the first villages in the history of the world were built. So again, your learning process, you own it. It's yours. You're going to be making mistakes as you learn. You may choose to, look things up on the internet, but please, trust your own learning process. Because anyway, people on YouTube don't even know what's going on in your life. They may give pieces of advice. Some of them may be useful to you. Some of them may not be useful to you. But whatever the case, you've got to keep doing things. You've got to keep learning. You've got to keep just doing things and making mistakes and learning on the fly. There's no, you don't learn things by constantly looking up on the internet how to. Because, the people that you believe in, the people that you admire, they've learned a lot through countless mistakes. They've made a lot of mistakes. The experts that you admire on YouTube, once upon a time, they were noobs and scrubs, like me. Okay, so your learning process is your learning process. It isn't perfect, it isn't perfect because you're going to be making mistakes, but guess what? No one is perfect. No one. All right? So thank you very much for listening.